Also, Tottenham is fit and Chelsea players are somewhere fighting over penalties. Yeah. But with 27 goals, Erling Haaland is the top goal scorer of the Premier League. What are you going to tell me? That because he didn't score 36, 37, 38, or 40 goals, now that's not valid? MLS defense is a joke. If you're a football fan and you can't respect what Leverkusen is doing right now, you're in the wrong sport. Go play Quidditch or something. Hello! What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Elischa here, and welcome back to another episode of Evergreen. This is episode 8. Welcome back to the Goal channel. Whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I appreciate y'all so much for spending your very valuable time here. As I said, this is episode 8. We coming down to the end of the European football season. We're in the middle of MLS season. There's a lot of international football coming this summer. So there's a lot going on in football. Also, the summer transfer window is about to start. We're going to talk about all of these different topics in football, the most interesting, the most important, what you care about, what I care about. Without further ado, let's get right to it. First and foremost, we're talking about the Premier League, the end of the Premier League season. And I just want to say straight up, big congratulations to Manchester City for becoming Premier League champions. 4-time Premier League champions back to back. The first time ever that any team has ever won the Premier League 4 times in a row. Historic. Pep Guardiola has done it. Whether you think it's influenced by the money, whether you think it's influenced by talent or just whatever you think it's influenced by, at the end of the day, they made it happen. A lot of teams spend money, just as City do, maybe not as much, but it takes a lot more to be able to consistently win every single year, and they've made it happen. But I actually wrote on specifically the ending of the Premier League season. I wrote a little song, and y'all gonna just rock with me, okay? I just want to know how y'all feel about this. On the final match day of the Prem, the title race was closed. But from the streets of Manchester, a champions arose. And by Manchester, I mean Manchester City, not Manchester United. They're horrible. Arteta and his Gunners fought hard until the end, but it just was not enough to win. Next season, try again. Maybe try to not lose so many points in the middle or earlier on in the season, because it'll cost you in the end. Sheffield, Burnley, Luton are filled with shame and sorrow, but may their journey down below be fun, fruitful, and thorough. Even though they got relegated, I hope that their time in the championship is productive and that they could be back in the Premier League soon. Klopp is done with Liverpool, he's given up his throne. But one thing we all know for sure, he'll never walk alone. Also, Tottenham is fit and Chelsea players are somewhere fighting over penalties. Yeah. So that's it for my little jingle about the Premier League season. But yeah, Manchester City are champions. They won 4 times back to back. And the final day brought with it different results, obviously. Haaland is the official. After a few days ago, it was announced that Cole Palmer was the player of the season for the Premier League. Congrats, Cole. Congratulations, Cole Palmer. But now with 27 goals, with also Cole Palmer as a close second, but with 27 goals, Erling Haaland is the top goal scorer of the Premier League, is the Golden Boot winner for the 2023-2024 Premier League season. And am I surprised? Not at all. Not at all. I'm not surprised that he's the top scorer. That man is a sniper. He's a certified marksman. He's gonna get the ball in the back of the net instinctively, intuitively every single time. He's a natural goal scorer. So that's why I was a little confused when after last season, obviously Haaland had a historic season, right? He broke all types of records. He broke the all-time goal scoring season record for the Premier League, and it's in his first season in the Premier League. So obviously, that's out of the norm. That's out of the ordinary. But it seems like after he accomplished this and City won the treble, everyone was expecting him to do it again. He's not supposed to do it again. Like, yes, he can attempt to do it again, but generally, this is not even something that you do so early on in your career. So the fact that at his age, in the first season in the Premier League, he already breaks the all-time goal-scoring record, it's just like now the next season, you shouldn't have an expectation of him trying to replicate that. So as the season is progressing, a lot of fans were criticizing Haaland whenever he goes on a stretch of like 2, 3, 4 matches without scoring, as if this man didn't just accomplish something that most Premier League strikers like wouldn't even ever dream of accomplishing in their entire career, something that has taken generations to fulfill and to break. And now you're expecting him to just try and do that same thing again. And that's the issue with the public, with the court of public perception, the court of public opinion. You're always on the stand. You're always on trial trying to prove yourself for what? For a crime. You trying to prove yourself for crimes that you didn't commit. And that's exactly what happened to Haaland. Like, this man broke records. He shouldn't be held to that standard again the next year, because already what he did is out of this world. Now, a year later, that he's one top scorer with 27 goals, what are you going to tell me? That because he didn't score 36, 37, 38, or 40 goals, now that's not valid, or that's not good enough, or that's not prestigious enough in football fans' eyes? No. And this is the same. This happens in football. This has happened in football before. Same thing. When Messi scored 91 goals in a calendar year in 2012, people were expecting in 2013, well, he's got to score 95. He's got to score 100 now. Well, can he score 100 though? Can he score 100? Messi scored 91 goals in a year, and you going to ask, but can he score 100 though? And if he can't score 100, then he ain't about nothing for real. No, that's not how it works. Like, you make history and you're able to go and break records. The value of the player shouldn't be by whether or not they can replicate something that isn't even supposed to happen in the first place, whether or not they can replicate it season after season after season. So same thing in music, right? You have Lil Nas X with Old Town Road. Like, he comes in, makes this country song, and it's a bop. It's one of the biggest songs ever, 15 times platinum record, one of the most streamed records of all times. The more he makes music, like, you can't expect them to go and make another Old Town Road. You can't expect them to make another biggest song ever. Like, that's unrealistic expectations. And I don't think that Haaland has those expectations for himself. However, football fans should be a little bit more understanding of the fact that, like, hey, these are very, very special moments, and you're being hypocritical and extremely biased, and it's just unfair to have those expectations for a player. It don't matter whether you like him or not, whether he's from a rival team or not. Be real with yourself. The guy's phenomenal. He's breaking records. He's winning trophies individually and collectively for his team. How can you hate on that? Somehow people find a way. To hate on that. But that was the end of the Premier League season. Arsenal was able to snatch that second place spot. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to they did what they had to do. Arsenal got the win, the 2-1 win versus Everton, but Man City also got their W on the final day, and that's all that they needed, honestly. The Gunners fought hard until the end, but it just wasn't enough. Liverpool played their final match with Jurgen Klopp as the manager, and of course, a bittersweet moment because he's won them a lot of trophies. They've won the Premier League together. They've won the Champions League. But as a final match, they got the win. McAllister, Konsa, both scored. But yeah, it's bittersweet because he's won them a lot of things. But to be leaving a club where the fan base embraced him so much, and that famous quote from Klopp is, it's not so important what people think when you come in. It's much more important what people think when you leave, which is such a powerful quote and such a powerful lesson to learn from anybody. It's not always how you start. It's so much more important how you finish. It's so much more important of what you accomplish by the end of your tenure, by the end of your stay. This can apply to so many things outside of football. It's like you walk into a room, the perception of you and your image in people's eyes and the perception that people have of you walking in that room. You can't control that. However, and you can't control what people think of you also when you exit that room, because people will make their own opinions no matter what. However, how you conduct yourself throughout the time that you're in that room is what really matters, because objectively, whether people want to give you your props or not, when you walk out of there, what you've accomplished, how you conducted yourself, how you spoke to people, how you treated people, that's gonna how your character showed throughout that time. That's what's gonna matter the most. And Jurgen Klopp has showed that, he's shown a lot of character over the years. I've been critical of some of the things that he's done. Obviously, he's in a sports world, he's in a public eye, he's subject to scrutiny, but he's been a great manager for Liverpool, and I know the fans are gonna miss him a lot because he's brought them a lot of special moments and some special players. And yeah, he definitely will never be forgotten. He's a legend for Liverpool for the end of times. Absolutely. And yeah, man. Yeah, Premier League season ends. Let's look through the winners, the losers, the in-betweeners. We got obviously Manchester City at the top of the league. Arsenal second, Liverpool third, Aston Villa. Congrats to Aston Villa for making it in the top four and securing their European Champions League spot for next season. Tottenham secured their Europa League spot, so at fifth place. Chelsea outside of it. Manchester United outside of it. So I don't want to hear no Chelsea fans, no Manchester United fans. I seen this video of Chelsea fans at Stamford Bridge teasing and harassing an Arsenal fan. Like, yeah, they finished second. They didn't win the league. But y'all got nothing. Like, this is an A and B conversation between Man City and Arsenal. See yourselves out of it, right? First letter of your name, Chelsea, see yourself out of it. This is not even, how you gonna hate from my side of the club? You can't even get in. You can't even get in. You standing in line outside talking about, yeah, I know the owner. No, you don't. The owner don't even rock with you like that no more. That was back then. This is now. You're not part of the club. You can't even make top four, and y'all are rejoicing on another team's misery. Like, this is that. How miserable do you got to be as a fan base for you to be rejoicing so much about a team losing when you fall way below them in the standings? Like, this is not making no sense to me. Chelsea fans, please reevaluate your priorities. Please worry about what player is going to take y'all penalties, because at every single match now, you got Cole Palmer, Madueke, Nicholas Jackson. Everybody's fighting to take penalties for Chelsea. Y'all need to be worrying about that. Y'all need to be worrying about your own players not imploding and not beefing with each other from inside of the club, because they seem to be their biggest rivals, not every other team. Worry about that instead of what Arsenal are doing. They finished second. Yeah, they didn't win the league, but y'all have way bigger fishes to fry. Anyways, 3 teams that will be relegated: Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United. For the most part, though, this Premier League season was very, very interesting. At some point in the beginning, we thought Tottenham was going to contend for the title, but Tottenham being Tottenham. Ange's first year, Ange Postecoglou, we're going to see how he does next year. I do think that Tottenham can be actual contenders, depending on what additional pieces they add into the team this summer. But yeah, man, that was the Premier League season. Not so surprised that City won it four times back to back. Pep is talking about possibly 2025 being his last year with the club. He said he's closer to ending in 2025 than he is of staying longer. So we'll see what happens as the time goes. Y'all already know Bayer Leverkusen are champions of Germany, but not only are they champions, Leverkusen are the first ever team in Bundesliga to finish the season undefeated. They're the new Invincibles. Like, y'all know how Arsenal in 2003 had their Invincible season where they lost no games in the Premier League. It's that same thing. Bayer Leverkusen is our modern day Arsenal Invincibles. They're our modern day Invincibles team. And I feel like it's a little bit, it's even more special that Leverkusen did it because of the lineup that they have. Like, they have some good players, right? They have Florian, they have a Frimpongs, they have a Konusu, they have a Boniface, but it's way more understandable that Arsenal team went undefeated because they had Thierry Henry, they had Dennis Bergkamp, they had Vieira. Like, they had a squad. To name a few, they had a squad. This Leverkusen team has a lot of solid players, but nowhere near the status, nowhere near the prestige that some of these Arsenal players had. So the fact that, and I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, it's a Farmers League, it's the Bundesliga, yeah, because the same team, that same Bayern team that won it 11 years in a row, were still not able to have an undefeated season. So that's an accomplishment that we cannot disregard, that we can't overlook. Don't do this childish shit of saying that it's a farmers league and that it don't matter just because it's Germany. No. This is still top flight professional football. Not only and to put the icing on the cake, not only did they go undefeated in the league, there's still a chance that they might win a treble. They're in the DFB Pokal and they're in the Europa League final. So they could complete the treble and go undefeated altogether for the whole entire season. Don't talk to me about no Farmers League. That is worth mentioning, and that's extremely, extremely commendable. If you're a football fan and you can't respect what Leverkusen is doing right now, you're in the wrong sport. Go. You're completely in the wrong sport. Go play Quidditch or something. And big shout out to the Bundesliga, too, for sending me this really, really dope package. Got me this signed Konusu Bayer Leverkusen jersey, too. Appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all. Love the Bundesliga. Y'all always holding it down. But I'll say Leverkusen, if they can, Leverkusen should hold a class. They should have, you know how everybody's selling a course nowadays? Leverkusen should sell a course to Tottenham to show them how to win something, right? How to win a trophy, period. How to accomplish something, right? Leverkusen just put together a class, sit Tottenham down, teach them how to win, please. Because over the past years, they've kind of been in the same position, right? They've emulated each other's journeys. I feel like now it's time for Tottenham to win something, and Leverkusen seem to have the formula to making that happen, so they could teach him. And also in the Bundesliga, a very bittersweet moment, Marco Reus's final match in the Bundesliga for Dortmund at home. No better way to exit, no better way to bid farewell to the yellow wall by going out, scoring a free kick, and assisting your teammates and winning that match. Just, yeah, you can't write a better story than that. Well, you can. If he wins the Champions League, then that's a way better story than just finishing on a free kick and an assist. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, that would be incredible. But yeah, bittersweet moment. He's a legend of the game. He's a legend of Dortmund specifically. And again, I know y'all be saying that I use the word legend loosely, but he's an icon. He's, again, an icon can mean a lot of things, you know, not just in terms of accomplishment, but in terms of significance to the game, in terms of recognizability. There's a lot of different criteria to being an icon other than just winning everything and scoring all the goals. Marco Reus is definitely an icon. He's one of those, if you know, you know. But to that point, you know, Marco Reus is one of those players. He's the last of a dying breed of players who really stay loyal for a long period of time to one club, because he didn't start out at Dortmund. He started out at Mönchengladbach, spent a few years there, went to Dortmund, and he spent over a decade in one club, right? And he had the chance to leave. He had the chance to go to other clubs before, but he decided to stay, as I talked about before. And I want to know, like, it's like, obviously the culture is changing. A lot of players are not spending as many years. You know, we have guys like Marcus Rashford who seem like he started at United and that he's gonna end at United. You know, there's still players there who are staying loyal to their clubs and whose clubs are staying loyal to them through all different types of adversity. But the culture is changing. And at the end of the day, I know a lot of football fans don't want to hear this, but it's a business. It's a business, and anyone involved in a business has to make business decisions. The clubs are going to do what's best for their clubs. The players are going to do what's best for their careers, what's best for their family, what's best for their future, their legacy. And sometimes those are monetary and financial decisions, and you can't blame them for that. Like, they're going to do what's best for them. But yeah, the culture is definitely not the same anymore, because guys like Francesco Totti, it's like you're just not going to find this nowadays. And that's just the reality of the game. So players, when you're at a team, you got to make the most of that time. And teams, you got to get the most out of your players, because you never know when the tide is going to switch and that move is going to happen. And again, it's a business and it's part of the business. But one last thing I'll say about the Bundesliga, as Bayern Munich season ends officially now, it seems like the Kane Kurse is still a thing. It seems like the Kane Kurse might be real. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to put that out there. I didn't want to put no negativity out on Harry Kane. Harry ain't never done nothing to me. I like the guy. But the Kane Kurse might be real. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, damn. It seemed like Harry would do anything else other than win a damn trophy. Like, you could say, Harry, either take this trophy, like you put the trophy right in front of him. Harry, either take this trophy or sing in Chinese. I feel like Harry Kane is going to break out in full-out Mandarin or Cantonese and just start singing in Chinese. I'm not going to lie to y'all, because damn, like, how do you just... A team wins the league and wins multiple trophies every season for 12 years. The second you come to the club, you don't win nothing. Maybe it's going to come from the Euros this summer with England, which would be phenomenal. Like, what a way to cap off so many years of just not being able to get a trophy for your team. If he could get that for England this summer, I know it'll be worth it for sure. Like, getting it for your country is on a different level. But yeah, shout out to Harry Kane, man. Maybe next year, maybe next season, maybe. Wait, nah, okay. All right, Harry. But as we were talking earlier, speaking of players not sticking around, Mbappe didn't stick around for Monaco, and he's not sticking around for PSG. He's officially announced in a very LeBron-esque announcement that he'll be leaving Paris Saint-Germain.
Salut à tous, c'est Kylian. Voilà, je voulais m'adresser à vous. Depuis le temps, j'avais toujours dit que j'allais m'adresser à vous quand le moment serait venu.
All right. Y'all been bugging me for damn near 3 years about this. Finally, I'm making a decision.
Voilà, c'est ma dernière année au Paris Saint-Germain. Je vais pas prolonger et...
Deuces, I'm out of here. Au revoir. Peace.
C'est beaucoup d'émotions, beaucoup d'années où j'ai eu la chance.
Man, I'm sick of this team. How we gonna get Messi and Neymar and win no Champions League? Nothing? How?
Et l'immense honneur de faire partie du plus grand club de France.
But it ain't better than Real Madrid. Real Madrid.
And he hasn't announced yet what team he's going to, right? Like, we kind of know, right? Or we feel like we know. I felt like I know for sure that he was going to Madrid, but the fact that he didn't announce it straight after he announced that he's leaving PSG, and the fact that he said he's going to announce it right before the Euros makes me think, I don't know. We got Fabrizio Romano is saying for sure he's going to Real. We got Speed, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Speed is saying on stream that he's not going to go to Real. And Speed ain't no Fabrizio Romano, but for the plot, I'm entertaining it. Yeah, I'm entertaining it. If Speed said that Mbappe ain't going to Madrid, maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. I'm entertaining it because if it ends up being true, y'all gonna be real sorry, and y'all gonna have to. It's gonna be a change in the matrix, right? That because there's a potential that I can't believe I'm living in the dimension where Fabrizio Romano might be wrong about one of the biggest transfers of our time, but Speed might be correct about it. We just gonna have to see what happens. I have absolutely no idea where Kylian Mbappe might be going at this point, but most likely it's gonna be Real Madrid. And if he does, I don't think it's fair. I honestly don't think it's fair. Objectively, football fans, take away any fandom out of it. How is this fair? We bring in super, and yes, we know the history of Real Madrid, of Galacticos, and just buying a whole bunch of superstars. But damn, this feels, Mbappe going to Real feels like KD going to the Warriors in 2016. Like, if you can't beat him, join him. What happened to athletes wanting to compete? What happened to athletes wanting to be on the team and beat the bigger guys? What happened to that? What happened to saying, I want to take down that empire, not build on top of it and join them? You couldn't beat them. You couldn't win a Champions League with PSG. And also, but I understand the fact that there's other factors in being in the team, right? He might not be happy with a lot of other things that are going on at PSG. It's not just the fact of wanting to just go to a team where he can win the Champions League. Obviously, that'll be a huge part of his legacy. Thinking long term, if you can choose to go somewhere where you have a better chance of winning the Champions League, of course, if that's his decision for his career. However, though, if we're talking pure competitiveness, Kylian Mbappe should have done, especially with how much more power he's gotten with his new deal at PSG. I think he should have done everything in his power to be able to win a Champions League first before leaving. This was a great opportunity, and they weren't. And this was a great opportunity, and I'll be the first to say I'm always vouching for Kylian Mbappe as being one of the most clutch players that we've ever seen. Like in big moments, he always shows up. In the final against Argentina in the World Cup, he showed up. In the final against Croatia in the previous World Cup where he won it, he showed up. He always shows up during big moments. But this time around against Dortmund, he was completely invisible, right? He was nowhere to be found. And so, respectfully, he should have stayed one more year, really tried to win the Champions League, really given it his all, and showed up. And then we could talk about moving. But damn, straight to Madrid? With Jude, Vinicius, and them? Ugh, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. Now talking about Major League Soccer and not, game results or just, this is not an update on how the season is going. This is about a very specific concept that I realized. I saw a comment on BR Football's Instagram, and it said, MLS defense is a joke. Now, the post at hand where this person commented this was a highlight of Leo Campana's last-minute goal, end-of-the-match goal for Inter Miami to win it against DC United. And yeah, the comment said, MLS defense is a joke. And I want to highlight this because it brings up a really interesting concept, which is called confirmation bias. And confirmation bias is the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmations for one's existing beliefs. Now what that means in football term is, if you already believe that a league is bad, no matter what happens, anything they do, you're going to constantly find ways to support that idea that you have that league is bad. So because a lot of people already see MLS, right? They don't like the fact that Americans call football soccer. They don't like, they don't like the fact that Americans call football soccer, and they outcast Americans out of the game for so many different reasons. So anything that happens in MLS, they're going to find ways to flip it to support that preconceived notion that MLS is bad, that Americans shouldn't come anywhere near football at all. And that's confirmation bias. That Leo Campana goal, assist from Sergio Busquets. First of all, never give Sergio Busquets that much space and time to think about his next move to be able to provide an assist like that, because he will make you pay for it every single time. But that goal, it was a great goal, a great end of the match goal, which happens all the time in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, in South America. This happens all the time in football. But immediately when it happens in MLS, all of a sudden the defense is the problem. The goalkeepers are trash. And we know we need better goalkeepers. And now when Hugo Lloris, who was the top goalkeeper for France for X amount of years and has played in Europe for a long time and is still one of the better goalkeepers out there, when he starts getting scored on, what are we going to say? Or we're going to have excuses now as to, oh no, Lloris is at the end of his careers and his age and blah, 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 blah. But the more football fans start actually being true to themselves and honest with themselves and start watching objectively with no bias, with no hate, with no bitterness, with no pettiness, and genuinely start watching MLS, you'll realize that you can enjoy this league for having good football, for having good goals, really dope goals, bangers year in, year out, week in, week out, bangers all the time in MLS. That's why I said Giroud is perfect for MLS, because his whole career is a highlight reel. Like he only scores beautiful goals, just like MLS only has beautiful goals being scored all the time. So it's a match made in heaven. But if you could take the time to really appreciate this league and watch it with an objective point of view, with no confirmation bias, and you'll realize that it's a pretty good league. You might not watch it all the time. You might not become a full-on MLS fan, but you can appreciate it for what it actually is. Now, speaking of MLS, I'm not gonna lie, I've been betting, yes. I've been betting these days on, I've bet on MLS, I bet on some European clubs. I've been betting these days, and your boy's been winning. Your boy's bet, the parlay's been hitting. I'm not gonna lie. The parlay's been hitting, saying your boy's sitting down nice. And life's about balance. Just as much as I've been winning, some of my bet sheets don't hit either, right? I don't win every single bet. But I do think that sports betting adds a different layer to fandom. Like football, what makes this sport most exciting for me is everything that happens on and off the pitch, right? It's not being able to make money out of it, out of betting, whatever. That's a nice incentive. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all and act like making money from betting on football isn't good. Like, I'm not happy about it. I am. However, as the world is evolving and betting is so much more accessible, like you can literally just be betting whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as you have the money for it right here on your phone, in your pocket. Like, you have a casino in your pocket right now. So because it's so much more accessible, it's easier to add that as a layer of your experience as a sports fan, as a football fan. And this is not an ad for FanDuel or this is not an ad for FanDuel or DraftKings or anything like that. It's really interesting to see how the world is changing and now, like, how big a part of people's lives sports betting is. Now, there is the dangerous side of it, and there are a lot of people who obviously are becoming addicted, and please gamble responsibly. I'm one of those, like, I lose too many times, and I take a 6 month to a year hiatus. Like, I just got back to betting, and I was away for a long time because I don't like losing. I lose too much money. And I don't even bet a lot. Like, if I lose like $100, it's like, all right, I'm done with this. I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to bet anymore. But it's definitely interesting seeing the different aspects of football that are getting people more and more involved into the game, whether that's fantasy football, whether that's playing FIFA, whether that's even collecting rookie cards and just trading cards overall. Like, all of these things outside of just watching the game and being a straight up fan of the game. It's super interesting seeing what people get into that help them add layers to their experience as fans. Now, last but not least, as always, I can't get out of here. We can't end Evergreen without me giving y'all a quote of the week, man. As much as I love y'all as football fans, I also care about y'all as people. And so any quote, any saying that I find throughout the week that I feel like you guys should know about that'll help bring some value to you guys, I gotta share it every single time. And this week, the quote of the week comes from somebody that I admire. God rest his soul, RIP to Big Nipsey Hussle. And that's somebody that I've paid attention a lot over the years to Nipsey and his teachings and his philosophies and how he's lived his life, how he's conducted his business, and how he's progressed as a musician, as a rapper, and so as a businessman, especially. And yeah, that's someone whose words I definitely analyze a lot and I hold to a lot of value. So the quote of the week from Nipsey Hussle is, the best thing you can do for a person is to inspire them. That's the best currency you can offer. Inspiration. The best currency you can offer is inspiration. Now, you can give somebody money, and we know about the saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But inspiration, being able to spark something, being able to bring to in a place of darkness, if you're able to be the little beam of light, the little ray of sunshine that shines through to somebody's darkness, or you're able to be the little spark when there's a drought, you're able to be when everything is completely dry, you're able to bring that little spark that lights up, that blazes up a fire, right? And just ignites a flame in somebody that helps them to wake up, to get up, to be inspired, to be motivated, and to go out and to realize the potential within themselves. There's no bigger honor than that, to be able to inspire someone. And, you can only do that by living your life truthfully. You can only do that by working the best that you can and hoping that people are watching and that people are paying attention. It's not about going out there and saying, hey, I'm going to inspire this person, I'm going to inspire that. It's like, no, how are you living your life as a human being? It's not just about how you're making your money. It's not just how what your profession is. It's how are you treating your family members, your friends? How are you treating yourself? How are you taking care of your body, your emotions, your soul, your brain, everything? How are you living your life genuinely on a day-to-day? And when people pay attention to that, when people see that, when you do it at a certain magnitude where people can look and say, wow, this person, the way they're living their lives, that's some way that I want to emulate. That's something that I want to take. And that's something that inspires me. And that is the biggest gift you can give to anyone, is to be able to conjure that into them so they can take it and run with it and hopefully make their life everything that they've ever hoped for it to be. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. Evergreen episode 8, man, and we gonna be back again and again, again and again, again and again and again. This has been Evergreen. This has been Evergreen. It is green, it's not yellow, it's not red, it's not blue. But one thing that I know is that I will stay true to you. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all on the next episode. Peace.